Well, hey everybody. How y'all doing today? It's just after 7 a.m. here. Sun's coming up. I think there's enough light. I'm going to avoid turning this glare thing on. Even though I got it all covered up with um, to block the glare and cut it down, it still is a little irritating. So uh, mostly it's just what I have to say. I do have a few things to show in our discussion. Um, we got to own our authority. That's all there is to it. And I keep I keep digging, I keep researching, I keep analyzing and coming across more information all the time. It really is at times overwhelming. However, it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. It should be just this simple. We are at war. Our government is warring with us because our government has been infiltrated. Your vote doesn't count. It doesn't matter. The system that you put faith in is a corrupt system. Now, I shouldn't say you, because a lot of the people that are following me, you don't have faith in that system because you woke up. So the majority of our society, the majority of the men, women, children in our society are asleep. They are putting faith in this system. Just look at the number of people that turn up to vote. Well, I don't think you're supposed to be voting. I think you're supposed to be electing. Our entire language has just been bastardized and used against us in just about every way imaginable. And right from the time you start learning how to talk, you're entrapped in this enslavement system. So, what's the answer? Uh, I, I'm I'm just amazed at the information that keeps coming out and the things that people are doing. And I think it's just this simple. When you sit back and you look at it um, from 1,000 feet, you got two sides. You got a lawful side and you got an unlawful side. And you've got this society that is all encapsulated, captured by this unlawful side. And so there's a tax. There's a tax on we the people constantly. What is known as courts are just banks, enslavement camps, administrative processes, violators of your rights, trespassers, parasites. Uh, so what are we going to do about it? Well, in my opinion, we have to own our authority. Pure and simple. You got to own your authority and you got to stand on it and you got to enforce it. And you, many of you are going to have to educate yourselves before you can start educating others and come together and stand. Now, you can stand alone, and you should. It's very difficult to do, especially if you don't know how. Then it's near impossible. So, step by step, we're going to get there. Now, I'm of the opinion that I don't want to engage with that unlawful system. I don't want to go into that system with complaints, redress, a grievance, collection, none of that, because that's the enemy camp. That is the unlawful system. In my opinion, all you're doing is um, enforcing it. Uh, Accepting its existence. I don't think we should accept its existence. I don't. I think we should realize the existence of our God given rights and our lawful authority. Now, do we have a lawful treasury? It would appear so. Do we have a lawful post office? It would appear so. It would appear that they're in Philadelphia. And if you haven't studied Russell J. Gould, I recommend that you do. And if you have cast aside Russell J. Gould, I suggest you apply some critical thinking and reevaluate, do some more investigation, do some more research. All right. You got to have a flag. You got to know how to conduct business. You have to own your vessel. You got to be able to move your vessel. You got to be able to contract lawfully. So, as we're going forward, there's a couple of things that I think are worth discussing. So, your passport. Well, most people get their passport through the de facto, through the unlawful system. Because what else are you going to do, right? Well, there is something else you can do. But before we get to that, I'm going to talk about this de facto system. Now, there's a process, and I think it's under the copper moonshine school teaching link, whatever we want to identify it with. People that are following the copper moonshine process of getting a passport and a card, I do believe that is still in the de facto system. Now, in that de facto system, there's this thing known as diplomatic immunity. And people are getting the status of diplomatic immunity. Now, I'm going to play a short clip from a short video. And the link to that video is in the description of this video. So you go and watch it for yourself, because there's a lot of background noise, and because of that, I'm just going to play a very short snippet. One of what I feel is what's going to get your attention. So this is about a traffic stop, and the fella that's filming the traffic stop and has put it up on his YouTube channel did a good job. And the servant, the tyrant, representative of that corporate fiction, that unlawful parasitic group, turns his camera off to have some discussion. So what's this all about? Well, this fella got himself a passport, and in that unlawful system, when they run him, I believe it comes up with do not detain. So we'll unlock the screen here. I got this ready to go. This is a 9-minute and 59-second video. I'm picking this up at the 8:50 mark. All right. And like I said, there's a lot of background noise. But I think it's worse earlier. I think the volume on the voice is a little bit louder here, and let's listen to it, and then I'm going to talk about it. Oh, hold on. Back that up 10 seconds. My speaker turned off. There we go. All right, try this again.
But if I have reasonable articulation, in this case, probable cause, which is operating a motor vehicle and a bus lane and operate purposes because they are pedophile, I can't do. Don't stop or detain based on this information. So it's like pretty much saying, like, if I knew that somebody was a pedophile before I stopped them, and I stopped
this is the cop talking.
I can't do that. But if I have reasonable articulable suspicion, or in this case, probable cause, which is operating a motor vehicle and a bus lane and operating a motor vehicle without registration within the state of Illinois, that's probable cause. I can stop you for that.
Okay.
I didn't know who you were before I stopped you. So it's like, say for instance, you are a diplomat, and I stopped you because you were a diplomat, completely separate. Okay. You know what I mean? Quick question.
Yeah.
You seem like a person that might know something about straw man.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's the reason why I turned off my camera. You tracking?
Yeah. So.
All right. So now he's asking him. Sounds like you know something about straw man. And the cop turns off his camera. He probably doesn't know that his voice is being recorded here. This is where it gets interesting. All right. Here we go.
This secure party process. Now, this what I have right now. I'm a non-citizen national, right?
Right.
So a non-citizen national is a state citizen. A state citizen.
All right. Did you hear that? I'm gonna back it up.
Secure party process. Now, this what I have right now. I'm a non-citizen national, right?
Right.
So
I'm a non-citizen national, right? And the cop says, right. A non-citizen national. Does that mean diplomatic immunity within that de facto system? With de facto paperwork? With a de facto passport? Yeah. Does that mean that that's what you should do? That's what we're going to talk about more. We're going to go into depth on that a little bit more. I'm going to finish playing this because it's short. Here we go. I'm going to back it up one more time, that 10 seconds, and here we go.
You tracking?
Yeah, so it's secure party process. Now this what I have right now. I'm a non-citizen national, right?
Right.
So a non-citizen national is a state citizen of the Union Republic.
Right.
I'm not a United
like
States.
You feel like something from 1776.
Yeah, it's two separate entities because the U.S. citizen don't have rights because we stuck under the 14th Amendment Act.
Right.
So
the birth certificate.
Pretty much. Yes. So licenses, permits, fees are not dealing with the Constitution. It's all repugnant to the Constitution. You feel me? So right now, what they're trying to put the police, right? They say you're law enforcement, but they don't understand it's called policy enforcement. A policy enforcement because y'all work for the legislature. It's not for the Constitution. So read a book, right? I mean, not read.
All right, so that's where it ends. Now, this fella got stopped. It would appear he didn't have a registration. And law enforcement wants to know about the straw man. Everybody should. The straw man is a fiction. It was created probably without your knowledge. Certainly not your knowledge at the time, without your consent, and in a fraud to enslave you. That all caps name that's on your driver's license, that's on your birth certificate, that's on all the paperwork that goes into these administrative banks that they call courts. So back to the lawful side. Your lawful post, your lawful post office, your lawful treasury. I've seen some paperwork that tells me it's there. I've done some study on Russell and what he's put together, and I got to say, it's there. Do you know about it? Did you know about it and poo-poo it? Well, that's your lawful side. And you can get a passport that doesn't come through the de facto. I also am under the belief through the conversations I've had, the study I've done, that you can have your de facto passport corrected. And you got to own your authority in doing so. So there's a right way to do this that gets it done. And that's what needs to be learned. That's what we need to know. Did I not bring my glasses over here? I'm going to be right back because somebody popped in here. I just want to be able to see. So bear with me just a second. My eyes are just too tired these days. Well, good morning. Oh my goodness. How do I say that name? Calistoga. Hope I got that right, Calistoga. So if you have a lawful way to get your diplomatic immunity, Kevin. Hello, Kevin. If you have a lawful way to get your diplomatic immunity and a lawful way to get your passport, what do you want to mess around in that de facto with that copper moonshine teaching and all that money that you got to spend. Just throwing it out there, folks. Get an awful lot of people studying about this de facto system and how to deal with this de facto system. All that does is give it credibility. I say, tear it down. I say, destroy it. Stop enabling it. Why do you want to enable the enemy? This just doesn't make sense to me. I can study and study and study all the things that people are doing. Why would I? Now, if you're trapped, if you got yourself trapped or they got you trapped in one of these administrative hearings, one of these administrative processes, well, then, yeah, you want to use that system to defeat that system. I'll go along with that. Get out of it. But that's a real complicated system. It operates on assumptions and presumptions. But there are ways to kill it. There are ways to crush it. But it's so complicated. It's getting simpler as more people are getting educated. But is that the education that we want to focus on? I don't think so. So, education. My video, Own Your Authority, Part 6. I talk about I think it's an 8th grade exam. I believe it's Salina, Kansas, in the late 1800s. You can go to that video, and in the description, you can click a link and you can take that 8th grade test. Good luck. Ha, that's what I'm going to tell you. I don't care what your education level is. Good luck. See if you can get 100%. See if you can get a passing grade. You see, we got this thing called quantum grammar. Oh, that sounds so impressive, doesn't it? Quantum grammar. What if I was to tell you that I think that's word manipulation, mind games? That's what I think, because I believe quantum grammar is old school. I do. I believe that's old school. But we've been so dumbed down, we didn't even get the benefit of old school teaching when we went to school. No, we got the benefit of being trapped, tricked, manipulated, coerced, trespassed upon, abused. A whole bunch more words I can throw out there. So, I think it's old school. And I say several months ago, I wasn't giving that quantum grammar too much credit, because I was thinking, well, almost nobody knows what this is. You learn it, you use it. Who's going to know? Well, I got a feeling that some of these judges that are educated know. I got a feeling that some of these bar parasites that are educated, they know. Now, a lot of these people that are selected and appointed and put in these judge seats and put in positions of tyrannical authority, I'm going to say they got no clue, a lot of them. But this you should have been learning in first grade, in my opinion. It's old school. It makes your words facts. It doesn't allow room for assumption and presumption and administrative control. All right. So let's move on. I think the next thing I want to talk about is the postal with regards to prepaid first class mail. Now, you have a lawful post. You have a lawful post office. If that building says United States Post Office on the outside of the building, you've got a post office. Now, inside every one of those, I believe you're going to find United States Postal Service infiltrated into your lawful post, operating in the de facto. So when you go up to the counter, that's what you're doing. You're supporting that de facto unlawful arm within your lawful post. So prepaid first class mail is a real thing. Now, in my last visit to the Kalkaska Post Office, excuse me, when I went in there to get some supplies, I think I had stirred things up in there. I do, with my teachings and with what got facilitated through that post office. What got facilitated through that post office? Well, here's a photocopy of the mailer. Now, that's 2-cent stamp right here. I added that to this document. There's a 2-cent stamp on the mailer down here. All right, so this is a copy of my mailer, my register receipt, and my 3806. This is the register receipt. This is the 3806. And this is the return card. Obviously, it was returned. From the picture, you can see it was taken off of the package after it arrived in Kingsland, Texas. Now, or very few people are going to dispute that. Very few people are going to dispute that. In war, many laws are silent. When laws are silent, you go by the maxims of law. Now, I've done a few videos on maxims of law. You'll have to go scroll through. You got about 180 videos to scroll through, but that don't take long. And I think the last video with the talk on the maxims is probably one of the best, but I think they're all worth listening to. So what did this do? Well, I really think it caused a huge stir, because when I went in to get supplies for my next mailing, I encountered a bad attitude. I did. And I was told, I was questioned, and then I was told that they have been instructed, meaning the postal employees, have been instructed not to process prepaid first class mail. And I was told that they stopped doing that in the 70s. Right there in the lobby in the Kalkaska Post Office, that's what they told me. Kalkaska, Michigan. That's what that lady told me. We stopped doing that in the 70s. Well, fine. The United States Postal Service came into existence in the 70s and infiltrated our lawful post. How about that? And they stopped doing it in the 70s, she says, and they're not going to do it anymore. Did they do it? Did they do it? Did they do it? Am I giving you my testimony? Am I showing you the evidence? And that registered mail tracking number should remain in that system indefinitely. That's a court of record. That's a court of record. That's a registered document. Now, the reason I did what I did was because I had involved myself with the People's Bureau of Investigation, and then along comes the environmental court. And the environmental court is all about primarily dealing with the tyrants for poisoning us. And because of this, and because of the findings of the environmental court, anybody collecting a government paycheck is a convicted felon. And when they get served a writ of execution, they're a convict. And when they're a convict with 6 felonies, they can't hold a seat. And they should be held to account for their crimes within their system, within that de facto system, is what the environmental court is trying to get done. Now, I try to get them to talk about the lawful treasury, and I want to hear nothing about it. I can't understand that, but I bring it to you straight, folks. All right? So I put a lot of time in over there learning about all of this. And this is the reason that I went to the post office, went up to the counter with the teaching that I had learned and put it to practice. And what did I learn? I learned that prepaid first-class mail is a real deal, because I walked away with the register receipt, the 3806, a sticker come out of their machine, $0.00 that went on that mailer. They put all the security tape on it, put all the stamps on it. For security, for tamper-proof. Sent it off to Traverse City. From Traverse City off probably to Chicago, and how many more facilities it hit before it got to Kingsland, Texas, I don't know. But it got there with that return card. And that return card made it back to me. And I got a picture of that mailer, and I got the register receipt. And they want to tell me that they stopped doing that in the 70s. Well, we didn't have computers in the 70s. Not in function like that, and like they do today in the post office. In the 80s, my computer was a black screen and a floppy disk. If I couldn't type code, I couldn't make nothing happen. You didn't have little icons to click on that take you to wherever you want to go, show you whatever you want to see. You had to know the code, and you had to type it in. So how is it if they stopped doing this in the 70s, in the latest software updates in the computer systems tied to the United States Post Office They can print out a register receipt. They can print out that 3806. They can print out that $0.00 sticker and put it on the mailer and deliver it, and then return the green card. And what did I spend for that? Well, obviously the cost of the mailer, printing up the labels and a little bit of tape it put to put them on, and a 2-cent stamp. Now, we had a lot of success with that teaching. We did. And then we started having some trouble. Yep, we started having some trouble. And mailers start getting returned. And there was some form letters from the United States Postal Service that were unsigned. No signature, no autograph. And these mailers would come back with postage due, domestic postage due. And in the midst of all of this, I come to the realization that there's another card. It's a pink card. It's for international mail. And when I was in the post office and they were telling me, that they're not going to be facilitating the prepaid first class mail, and that they stopped doing it in the 70s. And she says, and it's illegal to teach it online. Well, legal does not apply to me. Lawful applies to me. And the truth is the truth. The facts are the facts. So, one of the first things that happened was your label 200s. That's the stickers. One goes on your mailer, and the little strip go on your return card. Well, they removed that from online ordering, because up until then, you used to be able to go online, order your supplies, and they'd get sent to your mailbox free of charge. Now you got to go in there to get those. And when I asked for them, they wanted to give me these red ones. It's like mostly red with some white marking. And it's capital I, capital M, lowercase PB. That stands for International Mail, Pitney Bowes, metered mail. That's what they tried to give me. And I didn't know. I just seen her unrolling them. And I said, oh, they've changed. Well, that's when the whole conversation got started with their bad attitude. I walked out of there with the tracking number, the label 200 with the tracking number, not the International Mail Pitney Bowes meter mail sticker. So they want to see your face. That's why they removed it from online. Facial recognition. In my opinion, that's why. That's what makes sense. Otherwise, why would they do that? And then, days after my mailer hit Kingsland, Texas, I had this moment, right? You just got recognized as a foreign national to the United States in the jurisdiction of the United States Post Office, in the jurisdiction of the United States Postal Service, the Universal Postal Union, in my county, in my state. And that registered document that's recognized me as a foreign national to the United States was facilitated by the de facto across state lines and delivered. So I put a teaching out how to get recognized as a foreign national to the United States with 2-cent stamp. And so thanks for stopping in, Kevin. And so we come to the realization that this pink card is for international. And what happens? Apparently, it has been removed from inventory. Like the soup Nazi. No pink label for you. Next. Well, what do they think they're accomplishing with that? I'm going to say nothing. Why? Because it's not required. It's not necessary. No card is necessary for you to facilitate prepaid first-class mail, whether it's registered mail, whether it's just plain old drop mail, and certified mail. How about mail certified? Oh, have you ever heard of that? If you did, good for you. Who are you teaching about it? I hope your friends and your family at a minimum. So, after all of this mucky muck, I was delivered a new teaching. And I was impressed by this teaching and was told that they are having success. And I did a I did an upgrade to it because, in my humble opinion, there was some room for some upgrade there. Two things. It said no postage necessary if mailed within the United States. None of it was in red. And that is not the right labeling or statement to use, in my opinion. There are a few, and you can find them on the website of the United States Postal Service. And I'm just wondering if I got a paper right handy. I don't see it. I was going to give you the number. I think 742.1. Labeling. It's what you want to research. Labeling, marking. And so one of those statements is tax, T-A-X-E, all capital letters, per Q. Tax per Q. That's what belongs there and in red. So I upgraded it with that. On the return address, they had beefed that up, but it did not say foreign office of origin. So I added foreign office of origin. Just about the time I get done doing this, and I make a video and I put that document up on the on my website for you all to access, another teaching comes in, and it's very similar to the other one, but yet it, in my opinion, it's missing some key components. So what it did was I took and combined all three of them. I took the best of the best and I put it all into one. And then I thought, well, maybe we should put some old school checks into the spelling and grammar. So I believe that I'll have an addition that's done to the quantum grammar. And then I'll put them both up on the website. You can pick and choose which one you want to use, which one you want to facilitate. But in my opinion, they're powerful. And they're working. And one of them was working in a post office that had rejected the previous teaching. So don't let them tell you they stopped doing it in the 70s. Don't even talk to them. You don't want to drop your mail at the counter. You're going to put it in a drop box. This is drop mail. And that 2-cent stamp is your tax and your duty. It's not postage. Postage is prepaid, and it's a federal offense to collect additional postage. And they're all operating in the federal. So, stay out of that postal service jurisdiction. Own your authority through the lawful post office jurisdiction. All right. So, there's so much to talk about, so much information to bring forward. And I'm going to keep doing it because I need it. And I know you need it. Now, you got to own your authority. And part of owning your authority is to recognize your angel. And for most of you, your angel's bored out of your mind, bored out of his mind. Because you have not authorized your angel to act on your behalf. You have not authorized your angel to work with other angels to work on behalf of the people that they're angelic for. This is powerful. This is high vibration. This is love vibration. These are your protectors. You're under God's law. You're under God's protection. Own your authority. That's my message. I hope you find these teachings useful and helpful. I know I did. So if you're not trapped in that system, why go into it? Why go in there to claim your identity, reclaim your identity, redress a grievance, complaint, demand, all these things that just in reality mean nothing, and all you're doing is giving credit and your information so they can harvest you more. Stop being harvested. Let's build up the lawful, and tear down the de facto. That's what we need to do. I got to think, is there anything else I want to say in closing here? Yeah, I love you. I'm fighting for y'all. And I'll be back real soon. Peace. Own your authority, people. Bring it forward.